More than 6 basic schools in the Kwahu East district are still closed due to threats from nomadic herdsmen. For the past few months, school children have been kept away from school, and this is likely to affect preparations for the upcoming BEC next month. Incursions made by Fulani herdsmen in the Kwahu East municipality is a worry for indigents. Several schools in the municipality are currently closed, and some pupils have stayed away for months now and are complaining this may affect them as they prepare for the BECE.
Teachers, so we don't know what to do.
Yentimin kwa fumti yentimin kwa pa enti da bia nyame adumana wa kita kakra no kwehwehwe no akoto sabru sabanji no dia baha ni yadi.
My family and I are able to produce enough, but due to fear of the herdsmen, we leave them on the farms to rot.
Efre ya sasi mteso nkrofo nti ukoya kora no ma ede omomwa na abesen
brode kora no wadi abakoni ede.
The herdsmen also cut the plantain and cassava for their cattle to feed on.
Now, we're also told that farming activities in the Oboyan community has halted due to reprisal attacks between residents and Fulani herdsmen, and farmers say this will affect food supply from the area as a major food supplier in the Kwahu East municipality in that very region. And this afternoon, we'll be looking a lot more into the issues that have come up regarding Fulani herdsmen and the concerns that have come up. And I do have Dr. Festus Oben, a research fellow with the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center. Good afternoon, and thanks for your time. Now, you're one person who's done a lot of research and regarding Fulani herdsmen, and it looks like the menace will not go away. What do you have to say on this current bit that has come up?
First of all, thank you very much and good afternoon to your viewers. It's quite an unfortunate situation because if you look at the herdsmen and farmers conflict in the country, this is not the first time it is happening. It's a perennial problem that has been occurring over the years, but it seems that most of the interventions that we are putting in place is unable to resolve the issue.
Is that to say that we haven't dealt with the issue about Fulani herdsmen correctly?
To some extent, yes, because if you look at the existing interventions of the government and all the other key stakeholders, you will see that most of the interventions have been, in quote, security focus, without really dealing with the roots of the problem. Because if you look at the Fulani issue, it's not about the destruction of farms that we always hear in the news. It goes beyond the destruction of farms. And so if your approach focuses only on the immediate causes of the problem, I mean, the underlying issues will still be there. And that is what we've seen over the years. You remember last year, Operation Cow Leg was sent to some of the places where these issues were occurring, and yet still we still have the problem today.
And you've looked at this bit, you're looking at a multifaceted approach in dealing with this problem, but there has been calls for a ranching law. Is this in any way going to help deal with the problem, or aside that we still have to look at a multi-pronged approach with this matter?
Yeah, ranching law is very key, and most of our research that we did, we've really recommended for ranching law to help regulate the activities of these herdsmen within the areas that operate. But it goes beyond the ranching law. I'll give you one specific example. That if you look at most of the communities where we have this problem, the relationship between the Fulanis and the local communities has worsened due to the negative perceptions that we have about the Fulani people in general.
Couldn't that be because of what they do? That's how come people have had the perception about them?
Yes, of course, we agree that there are some miscreants among the Fulani population. But when you go on ground, you also realize that sometimes people even disguise themselves as Fulanis to commit all kinds of crimes. I don't know if you remember, last year, we had 2 police officers who were dressed in Fulani kaftan and footwear who committed some atrocities in the Afram Plains region of the country. If you go to the Kwahu East that we are talking about, the Agogo area, all these areas, you have situations where people have disguised themselves just to commit certain crimes, and at the end of the day, you blame the Fulani people as those who are causing those. So we need to change the perception about these people.
But
it's also key.
How do we do that? You've mentioned one bit where people disguise themselves. There's another bit where there are miscreants as well. And this is taking years. How will we deal with that? In that you also added that the level of peace between these headers and residents or host communities has gotten worse, and they're getting apart as the days go by. What role can local authorities, the police service, and all other governance security experts like yourself from the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center do to help deal with this menace? Okay.
When you look at the root causes of the problem, you will realize that some aspect of it has to deal with the lack of regulations to regulate the activities of these herdsmen. And there you talk about the government and the district assemblies and the regional ministry coming in to put down some measures to regulate the activities of these people, especially having safe pastoral zones or what we call grazing areas for these herdsmen. Because every year we have these nomadic ones. The problem is not with the Fulanis who are living in these communities. The problem is with the nomadic herdsmen. So if you have rules and regulations regulating the activities of these people who come to the area during especially the dry season, to some extent you limit the tensions a bit. But not only that, we, like you mentioned, we as security analysts and civil society also have a role to play in terms of peace education. You see, we've gotten to a situation where whatever happens, people want to use force to pursue their objectives or their interests. But there are other non-violent means of dealing with these issues, like dialogues.
But has that helped in any way? I'm not sure this is the first time you're speaking about dialogue.
It's because, you see, when you look at the previous interventions, most of the dialogue sessions have involved the cattle owners. And not the herdsmen who are in the bush. And so when you do that, you are dealing with the owners, but not those who cause the problem. And so until we have some policies and intervention that target these herdsmen located in the bushes, you will not deal with the issue.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Festus Obin, for your time. He's a research fellow with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center.